Hi, this is Jeffrey Larson, and I want to share with you something today that you can use immediately to build stronger relationships with anyone in your life. Could be your spouse, your children, parents, siblings, friends, acquaintances, even people that you meet for the very first time. Anyone you come into contact with. It's something that you've probably not thought about explicitly, but it's surprisingly simple and easy to do. What I want to focus on here today is how do you respond when someone shares good news with you? See, oftentimes when we think about relationships, the belief is, will you be there for me when things go wrong? And that's important, but even if you do that, it doesn't necessarily make for a truly strong relationship, a relationship that will last over time. Turns out that actually the more important question is, will you be there for them when things go right? And I know this seems counterintuitive, but this is based on the work of Dr. Shelley Gable, and she identified 4 ways that people respond to someone's good news and determined that there's really only one response that actually builds the relationship and predicts how long that relationship will last. So as we go into this, let's first define what is good news. Well, it could be anything that the other person tells you that they're excited about. Good things that have happened to them, and it could be big things or it could be small things. Could be promotion at work, could be some sort of academic achievement, maybe an athletic achievement, or just something good that happened to them that day. And this person has come to you, they feel comfortable enough with you, they have a strong enough relationship to you to come to you and share this good news, whatever it is. And that's important. How we handle people that come to us and share their good news with us is very important. And how we respond can either build the relationship or cause damage to that relationship. The first reaction that we'll look at is passive constructive. So this is when the person shares their good news with you, you're not really engaged, there's very little eye contact, there's no real connection or interaction with the person. You just respond with a simple phrase like good job and go back to what you're doing. Maybe you're watching TV or you're on your phone, you're distracted. That's passive constructive. So an example would be someone comes to you, they're sharing their good news, and you say something like, that's great, or good job, and then nothing else. How does that make the other person feel? Well, just imagine they could feel embarrassed. Was this really good news? Think about the message you're sending. The message is you're not interested and you don't care. So that's not going to build the relationship. A little further down the scale is the passive destructive response. And this is what I call the ignore and redirect response. So you change the channel. They share their good news with you and you immediately start talking about something else. You probably start talking about yourself instead, or some people will try to one up whatever that person told them. They'll tell something that is even better that they experienced. So essentially you're blowing off their good news. And what this could sound like could be something like this. A person shares their good news and immediately you say, oh, wait till I tell you about what happened to me today. Or something totally unrelated, like what's for dinner. So the other person is going to feel disappointed and confused, and their good news is suddenly deflated. They're going to feel insignificant. That's the passive destructive response. And next we come to what is maybe the worst kind of a response, the active destructive response. And here you're just raining on their parade. You're determined to find every downside. And this may be coming kind of from a good place. You may think that you need to assume the responsibility to find out the problem with whatever it is that they're telling you. You're actively trying to find the cloud in their silver lining. Maybe think that you're helping them, but in reality, you're just bringing them down. So what this can sound like is when the person shares their good news with you and you immediately go into what I call sharpshooting mode. You say things like, well, what about this? Or what you need to do is this. Or just find every way that their good news maybe is not so good. So the other person is going to feel angry. They're going to feel hurt. You're stealing their good news. In fact, what they thought was good news maybe now has turned into the opposite. And what that creates is just avoidance. They're not going to want to come to you ever again with any good news because you just shoot them down every time. So this is definitely something that you want to avoid. Finally, we come to the only responding style that actually builds stronger relationships. That's Active Constructive Responding, or ACR. And this is where you take a little bit of time to help that person savor their good news, to linger over it. You're actively engaged and interacting with what they're telling you. You show curiosity, you're asking questions. This is an authentic interest. So it's not fake, it's not cheerleading, but you're actually showing authentic interest in what they're telling you. And you do this by just taking a little time, showing curiosity, asking some questions. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but being positive about the good news that they're sharing with you is the heart of authentic and active constructive responding. And this is the way that you'll build stronger relationships. What you're actually doing when you're actively constructively responding is demonstrating your authentic interest in that other person. It doesn't matter so much what the good news is. It may be something you don't really care about. Maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal to you, but your relationship to that person is important to you, and that's what you want to communicate. So, what if the good news they share with you is something you think might be potentially dangerous? Well, if it is something really dangerous, like they want to skydive from 10,000 feet without a parachute, then yeah, don't worry about the ACR. You need to address those immediate concerns. But before you do that, ask yourself, is it something that's truly dangerous or something that's just a little risky? In that case, then you can have two conversations. The first would be ACR, responding in an active, constructive way. And then later on, having another conversation, maybe saying, you know, that what you were telling me before, I have some concerns and I'd like to share them with you. So I encourage you to practice this. You know, we often fall into certain patterns of responding to people, certain people in our lives, depending on their relationship to them. And the more that you can use ACR, active constructive responding, the more you're going to build that relationship, and the longer that relationship will last. It's simple and easy to do. Just take a little time out. When that person comes and shares good news with you, take a little time from whatever it is you're doing at the moment. It doesn't have to be a lot of time. It could be as little as 30 seconds. Pay attention to what they're saying. Really listen. And then show interest. Ask questions. Interact and savor that experience with them. Bring attention to the specifics. Use some effective praise. That's the way to use ACR and make it work for you. And now this is a skill, something that you may have to practice a little bit in order for it to become a habit. But once you do that, you will immediately see the wonders that this can work in your relationships. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to this channel to get notified as more videos come out. Talk to you again soon. Thanks.